To solve any particular trigonometric ratio question, there are basic things that we need to know. But first, when do we know when we have to use a trigonometric ratio to solve a problem? First, you may have an angle given to you, maybe 40-degree, and then one side is given, maybe 5 centimeter, and then probably you may be asked to find one of the other two sides. Now, to solve this kind of problems, okay, there are basic steps that you need to know. One, you have to label the triangle, the right angle triangle. Step two, you have to cross out the side that you don't want. Step three, choose the right formula triangle. And step four, use it. These are the basic steps you take to solve a trigonometric question when you have to find the missing side. So in this question, we want to work out the length of side AB. So we're going to label that part X, okay? Now that's the side we're trying to figure out. Now we know that AB, of course, is X, okay? And then AC is 4, okay? And then we don't even know what CB is. So the first thing we need to do, remember, from the very steps, the first thing we need to do is to label the right angle triangle. Obviously, we can see that this side facing the angle here is the opposite. And this side, the longest side of the three sides, is the hypotenuse. And then, of course, the third side is the adjacent. Now, of course, again, step two, you have to cross out the side that you don't want. Obviously, the side that you don't want is the adjacent. Now, the reason, of course, you don't want the adjacent is because if you look at the question carefully, you find that the AC already has a value 4 centimeter. And AB, of course, is the side we're trying to figure out. So we only need two parts, the opposite and the hypotenuse. Of course, the adjacent, well, it doesn't have any value. We don't have anything to do with it. So we're going to use the trig ratio that has H and O. Now, the third steps that you want to do is to figure out which of the trig ratio to use. Now, if you look at the three trig ratios, obviously you can tell something very that you need which of this trig ratio has the opposite and the hypotenuse. Obviously, it's a sine. So basically, this is what we're going to be using to solve this problem to get x. So if we go to solve that, basically we will be using, remember, sine. Okay, we're looking for the hypotenuse, and if we kind of cover the hypotenuse, okay, you find that we have a ratio of O over sine. O over sine. That's x, and x is definitely sine, okay? The opposite of a sine. And then you know what h represents in the main picture, which is the hypotenuse, which is x. Now we're going to go x here is equals to O, the opposite. Now the opposite is the 4. And then you divide it by the sine of angle. The sine angle is sine 45 degree. And then if you use your calculator and work 4 times 4 divide sine 45 degree, if you work that, 4 divide sine 45, you get 5.65, but to one decimal place is 5.7 centimeter. So the side AB is 5.7 centimeter. And our next question, here we have a rectangle triangle with AB 7 centimeter and the angle at C 25 degree. Now we want to work out the length of side BC. Now here is the side BC, so we're going to label it X. The next thing, the next step you're gonna really follow in the rules is that you have to label the right angle triangle. Again, if you look at right angle triangle, you have the angle here. So the side directly opposite to the angle is the opposite. And then this is the longest side. That's going to be hypotenuse. And then, of course, the third side is going to be the adjacent. And then you go for step 3. Now, step 3, you've got to cross out the side that you don't want. Again, if you look at the right angle triangle, obviously you can see that the side that you don't want is definitely going to be the hypotenuse. Again, the reason is because you look at the triangle, you find that this side AB has a value of 7 centimeter, and of course we're looking for BC. Okay, that's X. So that means that we don't need a hypotenuse. We only need the opposite and the adjacent. Now that brings us to step 3. We choose a right formula triangle. Obviously, if you look at the 3 formula triangles, the one that has to do with O and A definitely is this one, TOA. Okay, and so you want to use the right formula triangle, and now we're going to use it. Now to use it, now we have to like figure out which side we're looking for here in this question. Obviously is adjacent, so we definitely will be covering the adjacent. Okay, so we're looking for the adjacent, and then that's going to be a ratio of opposite over tangent, opposite over the tangent, and I'm going to write that in full. Okay, and then you kind of replace what this letters what they really mean in the main question. Then A is the adjacent, which of course is the X. So we go with X is equals to opposite, and the opposite is 7 centimeter, and then we divide it by the tan of angle. Now the angle here is 25, so we have 10 to 25 degree. Now we're going to use a calculator and do 7 divided by tan 25 degree. So we do 7 divide tan 25 degree. If we close the bracket, we're going to have 15.01154,844. Now, leaving the answer to one decimal place, we're going to have 15.0. And because the unit is a centimeter, so this side, BC, is 15.0 centimeter. I hope you understand this explanation. In the next question, we have a right angle triangle with an angle at B, 60 degree, with the hypotenuse 12 centimeter, and then we want to work out the side AC. So this is the side AC. So the first thing we've got to do is to label the side X. Remember, the second step is to label the right angle triangle. Obviously, the side directly opposite the angle is the opposite, and the side, which is the longest of the 3 sides, is the hypotenuse, which of course is this side here. And definitely the third side is going to be adjacent for free. Now, step 3 is to cross out the side that you don't want. Obviously, if you look at the 3 sides, the side that doesn't have a value or the side we're looking for, okay, which is neither of these, definitely is the adjacent. So we're going to cross that out. So now we're going to use the right formula triangle. And the right formula triangle is the one that has to do with the opposite and the hypotenuse. Obviously, again, you can find that that's going to be this one here. Okay, so now because we're looking for the opposite, okay, so what I'm going to do is to cover the opposite here, and you know opposite what's left after covering the opposite is the S and H. Well, this way is going to be the times anyway, you see. So it's going to be the sine, which is S, the sine of angle, times the hypotenuse. Now the opposite here, going back to the main question, refers to the side X we were looking for. So that's X is equals to sine of angle, which is sine 60 degree, and then times that by the hypotenuse, again, which is 12. And then we're going to multiply sine 60 times 12. Sine 60 times 12. Now, of course, that's going to give you 10.39 and blah, blah, blah. But you need it to one decimal place. That's going to be 10.4 centimeter. So the side AC is 10.4 centimeter. And now we come to another question. We have a right angle triangle, and the angle here is 42 degrees at A, and the length BC is 15 centimeter, and we're trying to figure out the side AB. And of course, this side is the side AB, so we're going to label it X. Now, you remember, the second step when you solve a problem like this is to label the 3 sides. So we begin with the angle here, and the side facing to the angle 42 degrees is the opposite, so we put O there, O represent the opposite, okay? And of course, you kind of figure out the longest of the three sides. Definitely is this one AC. That's the hypotenuse. And then definitely the third side we get for free will be the adjacent. Again, step 3 says you're going to cross out the side that you don't want. Again, if you look at a right angle triangle, you find that the sides that have the value and the side you're looking for are the adjacent and opposite, and definitely that means that the hypotenuse is the side that we don't want, so we're going to cross it out. So we were left with the side, the adjacent, and the opposite. So we look at the three formula triangles. Which one is the right one to use? Definitely, it's going to be this because that's the one that has the opposite and the adjacent. So definitely, we're going to use tan. Now, but in using the tan, again, you look at the question you go back to the question and then figure out which of the side you're looking for. Obviously, that's the adjacent. And the adjacent is actually this guy here. Okay, so we're looking for the adjacent, and what's left when you take out the adjacent from the formula triangle, you'll have left the O over T. Now, the opposite over the tangent. Okay, I write that tan. Now, of course, you know that you replace each of these letters with what their real values are in the main triangle. So this side, the adjacent, here represents the X. That's what you're looking for. Okay, that's the side you're looking for. And then O is the opposite. And of course, the opposite is the side 15 centimeters. And then you're going to divide that by the tangent of the angle 42 degree. And then, of course, you go to your calculator. You go 15 divided by tan, 42 degree. You get 16.65, blah, blah, blah. So, but do you want to leave your answer to one decimal place? So you're going to be 16.6. So the side X is 16.6 centimeter. I almost said a degree, but centimeter because you're looking for the side, right? So the side AB is 16.6 centimeters. And now we come to another question. Now we have a right angle triangle with a side BC. We're looking for side BC really, okay? So we label that X, and AB is 12, and we're looking for the angle, of course, BC, okay? Now, the first thing we do is to label the size of the triangle, the right angle triangle. Now, of course, this is the angle, so we have to look at the side that is kind of look at the side of the triangle directly opposite to the angle 34. That's the opposite. We label that O, and then you look at the three sides. Which one of them is the longest? That's going to be the hypotenuse. Definitely, it's going to be AC. And now, of course, you know the top side is going to be the adjacent. Now, step 2 is to cross out the side that you don't want. Well, you don't need any brainer. The side that you don't want definitely is going to be the hypotenuse. Of course, you know the reason why, because it does not have any value and it doesn't show the side that we're looking for. So it's only the side we don't need, and that's the hypotenuse, so we have to cross that out. Again, we'll look at the formula triangle to choose the right one to use. Now, the one to use is the one that has the O opposite and the adjacent. Definitely, it's the third one, TOA. And again, you look at the triangle, which of the label side are you looking for? Obviously, is the opposite. So again, I'm going to kind of cover the opposite here. And then, of course, I've left with T and A, which obviously is a multiplying when they face each other. So that's going to be the tangent of angle times the adjacent. Next, we kind of take the values of this label side, and with the real values, the O is opposite, and that's X. That's what we're looking for. And then T is the tangent, okay? That's the tangent of angle, that's 34 degree, tan 34 degrees, and then multiply that by the adjacent. Again, you can look at the question here, you see that's 12 centimeters. And then, of course, you're going to multiply 1034 degree times 12. So you go 1034 degree times 12. Now, of course, if you look at the calculator, you have 8.094, blah, blah, blah. You really want your answer in one decimal place, so it's going to be 8.1. Of course, it's going to be centimeter. So the side BC is 8.1 centimeter. And now we have a right angle triangle. Now, this right angle triangle has been flipped upside down. Well, the same process is the same thing. I mean, it doesn't really change. The process working out is the same thing. So the first thing you need to do, well, we're looking for AB, kind of label it X, okay? That's a quick one. We're looking for the AB. Now, the first step you need to do after labeling this is to label the three sides of the right angle triangle. Obviously, this is the angle, and the side directly opposite the angle, that has the opposite. And then you look out for the side as the longest of the three sides. That's ABC, and that's the hypotenuse. And then, of course, then this side here, AC, definitely has to be the adjacent. And of course, step two, you cross on the side you don't want. Of course, by now, we know the side that we don't want definitely is definitely the adjacent. Okay, so we'll cross that out. So we're left with the hypotenuse and the opposite. Now, again, which one of these follow triangle are we going to use to solve this? I think it's going to be the first one, okay? Because that's the one that has the opposite and the hypotenuse. Now, again, to use this one, again, you look at the triangle again. This main question here, kind of figure out which of the labor side are you looking for. Obviously, we're looking for the opposite side. So I begin with the opposite here and kind of cover here. And what's left in the formula triangle is S and H directly opposite each other, which of course means the times. So I'm going to multiply the sine of angle times the hypotenuse. Next, we take the values of this labor side opposite from the main triangle, which is side X, and then equals to the sine of the angle. The angle here is sine 70 degree. And then multiply that by the hypotenuse here, again, which is 15 centimeter. And then we punch our calculator these values, sine 70 times sine 70 times 15. So we go sine 70 degree, okay, and then times 15. Then we have 14.09538931. And we want to have our answer in one decimal place. That's going to be 14.1 centimeter. So the side AB is 14.1 centimeter. And then we have, again, a triangle kind of tilted to the right. And it has a side of AC 9 centimeter. And the angle here, 55 degree, well, at angle B. Okay, so we want to work out the side of BC. So the first thing we need to do again is label the side that we're looking for. Well, with X really. Okay, just start off with it. So the first thing we need to do again is to kind of label the three sides. Again, you always begin with the opposite because this side here is the opposite because that's the side directly opposite to the angle. So this is the opposite, and then definitely the longest of the three sides is the hypotenuse. And then, of course, the third side is going to be the adjacent. Quite easy to remember, right? So step two is to cross out the side that we don't want. Now, I don't think we have to go over this one more time because we already know the side that we don't want is the side that does not have a value and does not have, well, the side that we're looking for, okay? So the side that we don't need definitely is the hypotenuse. So we're going to cross out this guy out. So we know we're going to use O and A. And the right formula triangle for this, to solve this, is to use the first one, this. And to do this, we're going to use the formula triangle. We look at the question and then figure out the side that we're looking for. And that's the adjacent, okay? So we're going to really cross out this guy, the adjacent. And what's left in the formula triangle, you have the opposite over the tangent of angle, okay? Now, of course, we kind of replace what this labor side with the real values are. So the here A is the adjacent, and the adjacent is the X. This is the side you're looking for. And that's equal to the opposite. Now the opposite here is 9 centimeter, and that divided by the tan of angle, which is tan 55 degree. Now again, we're going to use a calculator. So we go 9 divide tan 55 degree. Now you can see the answer is going to be 6.3018678844. Now, but we want our answer in one decimal place, and that's going to be 6.3 centimeter. So the side BC is 6.3 centimeter. And now we have, well, kind of a funny shape. Well, it's not really funny per se, but it's a rectangle triangle kind of sitting on its tummy, okay? Now, when I mean tummy, I mean the hypotenuse. Kind of, really. So, again, the first thing you need to do is we need to understand the question. The question is saying, okay, what's the length of side BC? Well, this is BC, so let's call it X, because that's the side we're looking for. So the first thing you want to do to solve this kind of question is to label the three sides of the rectangle triangle. First, this is the angles. So we're going to pick out the side opposite the angle, which is definitely going to be the opposite. And then definitely, we'll take the longest of the three sides, and this is the hypotenuse. And then for sure, BC is definitely going to be the adjacent. And so The start step we want to do is to cross out the side we have the next step is to cross out the side that we don't want. Obviously, the side that we don't want is the opposite. So we cross that out. So we're left with A and H. Now, again, we look at the question carefully to figure out which of the formula triangle that we are supposed to use. Obviously, is the middle one, cos or car, really, I should say, car. And again, to deduce the car, we go to the main question again and kind of figure out the side. Which of the side that we're looking for? Well, obviously, it's the adjacent, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to cover the adjacent, okay? Start with the adjacent here, and what you left is C and H, which is actually the cosine times the hypotenuse when they face each other this way. So that's the cosine of angle times the hypotenuse. So next, we're going to take the value of what this labor side, what your real values really are. And this is the adjacent. And the adjacent here is x, so the side you're looking for. And that's C is the cosine of angle, which is the cos 23 degree. And then multiply that by the hypotenuse, again, which is 12 here, 12 centimeter. And then we're going to use a calculator and then multiply cos 23 degree times 12, the 12, okay, 12, yeah. So we say, okay, we go cos 23 degree and then multiply that by 12. Now that's going to give you 11.04, but we want it to one decimal place. So it's going to be 11.1, or rather 11.0 centimeter. So the side BC is 11.0 centimeter, correct to one decimal place. And now we have another triangle here, a right angle triangle. Remember, every time you solve a problem on trigonometry, at least for this kind of question, you're dealing with a right angle triangle. And we're looking for the side AB. And this is the side AB, so we're going to label that X. Okay, that's the side we're looking for. So the first thing we need to do, apart from labeling that side X, is to label the parts of the right angle triangle. Again, this is the angle, so we're going to figure out the side directly opposite to the angle is going to be the opposite. So this is the side opposite, represented by O, and the side of the longest of the three sides, BC is the hypotenuse, and then definitely the third side, AC, will be the adjacent. So step 2, okay, is to cross out the side that you don't want. Well, obviously, the side that you don't want is the adjacent, so you're going to cross that out. So you're left with the opposite and the hypotenuse. Next step is to choose the right formula triangle. Now, obviously, if you look at the three formula triangle, the one that has the opposite and the hypotenuse definitely is the first one. So definitely we're using the sign to solve this problem. So again, to use this one, really, you kind of look at the question again and then figure out which of the labor side you're looking for. Now, again, you can see that this you're looking for the opposite, so we are crossing out the opposite here. So we have left the S and H, which of course, when they appear this way, they mean times. Okay, they're facing each other. So that's the sine of angle times the hypotenuse. Now, of course, that's the hypotenuse, and then take what these values are, what this labor side in terms of values are from this question, and then kind of substitute. Now, this is the opposite, and that's side X, and that's equals to sine the angle sine 42 degree, and then multiply that by the hypotenuse, which is 15 centimeters. And then, of course, you take your calculator, and then you go sine 42 degree times 15, you get 10.0369591. Again, we want to leave our answer to one decimal place. That's going to be 10.0 centimeter. So, in other words, the side AB is 10.0 centimeter.